club. If you didn't click ready, you couldn't count down. I'm going to assume that it just works. So both players are ready. It does. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and Tetris. Lovely. A double Z opener. One of the most irritating openers in Tetris. Because follow that up with maybe an S piece or two, and your stack is immediately in a horrible situation. Also starting out with a nice 18-piece drought, but that's okay, just gives enough time to build up the stack. Ansel getting that tuck there. It did look like he missed it for a second. I think the frame dragged for a second. But all is good. Dan's stack not looking amazing. The grunge starts playing. Yes. Ansel going up to 91,000, taking an early lead. Dan, nothing that fills in that center of the stack there. No T pieces until it was too late. Gonna take a triple, then a split double with the next bar, both down the right well. Then sets up a spin tuck, or a double tuck, I suppose. Though I imagine it was probably a misdrop, but maybe not. And then hits a line spin. Very interesting. Fun. Fun stacking, fun resolution, terrible for scoring. Behind by 69,000 points, so Ansel literally double Dan's score right now. Literally more than double for a brief moment, and now not. Also, it's less than 40 lines, so doesn't mean too much. But it's still a 90k deficit. 120k deficit. Dan did set up a cool Vits there, though, so I'll give him that. And there we go. Tetris up to 136 to Ansel's 230. Ansel with an S-tuck setup here. Gonna go for the spin and miss the spin with the J piece. No, L piece. And a nice triple. Dan setting up a dirty Tetris here. Ooh, going for the 6 and below. Is that what that one's called? Not sure. I've never seen someone actually do a 6 and below in a game. Actually, no, that's not true. I've never seen someone intentionally do a 6 and below in a game. Ansel, Tetris up to 307. I remember one of my favourite Tetris clips of Tate accidentally pulling off a 6 and below by just spamming the rotation key when he had no idea what was going to happen. And then I posted it, and within genuinely 5 seconds, Sodium posted his first message in like 3 months on Discord to respond to it, because he's always ready for a 5 and below. Ansel's board a little bit awkward here. Gonna manage to resolve it though. Dan once again got some burns to take. Less than 300k at 80 lines, so still, it's not the worst pace ever. He has recovered a little bit. He was 4 Tetris behind, now only 3. So by kill screen, possibly will have shrunk that down to 0 deficit at all. Buongiorno. Hi. How many Vits did you miss? At least one. Dan had a pretty nice Vits. I don't know if Ansel had any. Haven't really been paying too much attention, honestly. I'm just that good a commentator, you know? Ansel, awkward stack here. But gonna see the correct T adjustment. And, ooh, Dan in a lot of trouble. Yeah, that don't resolve. 383 is going to be the top out. Dan cannot survive a 35-piece drought. Let's see how long it goes with Ansel's play. Ansel, I want to see how long the drought is. Don't top out. 2, 1. Tetris. And same opener. Lovely. No one going for the 5 and below opener. So boring. Dan going for a different third piece placement now. Goes for the vertical eyepiece rather than the flat eyepiece. Oh, and also... No, that was the fourth piece. The third piece was the S piece. Which also they did differently. His NTC ready doesn't work. Interesting. Are you sure it really doesn't work, or is he actually just trying to get you to do free labor for him? So, Dan behind by a Tetris, but also behind in lines, so... There we go, Dan gonna take a 1 Tetris lead. And low crinkle. Try it. This is the only match today, right? Yeah, probably. Ansel, awkward stack here, just nothing that you can do with those pieces cleanly, so gonna take some burns. Sharky versus Harry tonight. Yeah, I'm sure that'll be good. And stuff. I haven't seen Harry play a competitive game in like 3 years, so... Ansel scoring Tetris, going up to 213. DanV already at 250, so Dan, I don't think taking any burns yet. That might be 4 burns, I'm not sure. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson type of match. Yeah, I mean, why not? Dan, with that Tetris up to 345, so... Just going for that 700k transition, clearly. You need the Michael Can live performance. Hell yeah. With special guest feature, the Video Game Brothers. Dan Tetris up to 416. Just got a text about a WhatsApp group from my uncle, who I haven't spoken to in 11 months. Whoa, a light rail line. A railway made entirely of light. No, he doesn't live in Seattle. He's just extremely interested in Seattle infrastructure. It's a hobby of his. He actually lives in Burundi. Dan at 531 currently, at 100 lines. Ansel at 471, so actually not too far behind. Dan making up for the last game where he was behind in pace the whole time, so already at 600k. Has no burns available for the 700k transition. but the transition is still available. Nice adjustment there. That was actually really solid. One of those hard to see, but not necessarily difficult to conceptualize adjustments. And the last Tetris now for DanV. Will he get trolled? Probably. Stacked health definitely seen better days. There we go. There's the 700k transition for Dan. 715. His stack sucks, so he's going to be taking, like, probably 10 burns or some shit. But doesn't matter. Got 700k transition. Shut up. Ansel, almost 600k transition. Oh, taking more than 10 burns, most likely now, seeing this stack. Gets AVITs of some variety. It was interesting. Ansel also in a pretty rough situation. That left side is very bad. I have not seen a stack in... I've never seen two stacks just get so similarly screwed up so quickly. We're in a massive drought as well, so I guess lucky for the players that their stacks suck during the massive drought. I believe 32 pieces it was. Oh, even longer, 33. Me at 30 lines. That is not a Vits. I mean, it was a tuck, and it was a vertical eyepiece. It just wasn't necessarily a setup specifically for it. It was just a bad stack. So both players cleaning up here. Average your stack after 700k transition for DanV. But still going to get it cleaned up quicker than his opponent, so... Part of me was hoping that Dan would then get 0 Tetrises from in post and get like 180 post or whatever. I don't even know how many points you'd get for it. Like 110k maybe. One of the most your stack after 700k transition things you've ever seen. Yeah. I've only had one 700k transition, so I haven't, and I just completely gave up. I didn't even try to play the game after I got it. So I was like, great, got the 700k transition, never need to try for that again. I'm going to live off 690s and 670s for the rest of my life, and that's what I'm doing. Haven't had one since. Haven't tried to have one since, really. I've been close to it, but got dragged. Dan, Tetris up to 933. I've actually had 2 games, I think, since then that were very, very close, like 696 at 290, not 290, what am I saying? 130, 129, there we go. That's how many lines it is at transition. Dan's stack not in a great state, but Ansel's also in a very bad state. Can Dan even survive this? Okay, he has topped out, but... Ugh. Ansel also has, so at 731, so Ansel in 26 with the score Dan had probably around level 20. Average 700k. 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Yeah, I think I had a 698. No, not 698. It would have been a 694 because I lined out. I had to line out the last 4 lines at 126. That was fun. From 19 start. And I was like, man, this game doesn't want to give me 700k transitions. I had a 698 at 129, also from 19 start. That's fun. My mic is real quiet. Why are you spelling my name wrong? What's wrong with you, Colin? You know my name. You can read it. Typing fast. They're 2 keys apart. You must hate me. That's the only explanation. There we go. Toogie knows how to spell my name. Dan, what a placement that is. Thanks, Nick. Both player stacks real bad. There's not much scoring available to either of them. Dan might be able to get a dirty Tetris here. Has got the setup now. Is going to get it. Ansel's stack very, very much worse than anything Dan's has been this whole game. But Ansel can survive this. If he does, hopefully he gets 480 into kill screen and everyone will forget my game. That would be really helpful for my self-esteem. And then makes it to level 35 with, I don't know, 571k. That would be perfect. Well, Ansel is on pace for the 3... Ah, the misdrop of the T-piece. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tetris. And JT is the start. And they differ on the second piece this time. These players, no unity in their openers. Ansel starting out with a delayed Vits as well. Very cool. Not seeing the Corian thing, but it is pretty high up on the stack, so I won't go too hard on them. You love Vits, exactly. It's all for the fans. Another Vits, and that one wasn't even delayed. Look at that. We've already got Jay Huang's new favorite player. Two Vits and 20 lines. Remarkable stuff. To 95,000 versus 91,000 for Dan, but going to score a Tetris, go up to 114,000. That's a one Tetris lead. Amazing stuff. Hello, Kingsman. Quick, everyone appear busy. The boss is here. Everyone alt tab off of Reddit or whatever. A bar. Yep. Right, Dan 250, Ansel 212. And with that Tetris 236. Amazing. So Dan with about a 3 Tetris lead here. Nice cheese bar there for Dan. Gonna get it resolved. One of Dan's pieces is displaying as a blank space. I believe it is the square piece. Sometimes the square piece does display correctly. Dan, long bar dependency filled in, Vits filled in. That was not a good stack, but it certainly resolved itself. Even Somalian in chat going, Dan, why? You know, if Somalian's questioning your long bar choices, then there's definitely some issues. He's still perfect somehow. Amazing. I didn't even realize. No burns yet for Dan, finally. Finally, he takes a burn. On the other hand, Ansel not got a super clean stack, behind by 100k. But still not that bad pace, considering only 100k behind perfect. Gonna have to take a triple there, though, in that ult. Slowly, the pace will diminish for Ansel, while Dan will probably get back-to-back 700... Well, not back-to-back, right? But 2 700k transitions in the same set. That would be very funny. And when that happens, Ansel can just go, you know, I don't feel that bad about losing. And everyone will be like, yeah, fair. Has that ever happened? I don't know. Superminds hasn't played enough comp for me to be able to say probably. And Dengler doesn't go for gigapace in comp. So... Comp 750 has never happened? Well, yeah, we'll see. The comp transition world record on the table here for Dan. Okay, his next box is screwing up a little bit, so we're just going to assume that he isn't, like, giga cheating. Ansel, on the other hand, 490k, scoring a Tetris. I mean, 500k transitions, you know, that's what you want, usually. You're like, yeah, 500's fine, I'm chilled with that. But when you're against Dan in this situation, maybe you want more than that, potentially. And there it is, the 754 transition in competition. Not much you can do about that, I'm afraid, Ansel. So Dan going for the 1.5 into kill screen in competition. Let's see it happen. Okay, 1.5 into kill screen dream is dead. Everyone go home. Game's over. Boring game. Ansel 571. Just a casual 10 Tetris behind. With 600k in level 20. Is that actually the record? Do we know? Yeah, I'm like... In terms of comp transition, I'm like 99% sure that is the world record. Sorted out with the Vits. How did it end up like this? It was only a Vits. It was only a Vits. Look at this bar timing. It's just silly. It's just silly. There we go. I don't think this will be the earliest competition max out. Because he has taken a few burns now. But it might still be. Okay, now it probably won't be. Your stack after 750k transition. No, he hangs the bar, 998, and Ansel's actually got a reasonable chance. Alright, Ansel, you need a max out. You need a low max out. Dan trolled himself, but he got a world record in doing so. So you can't complain too hard. Any max out will do. Don't need to sell for 1.1 or whatever into kill screen. Content. Exactly. We're just taking it to deciders for fun here. And don't forget that Dan also had another 700k transition already this set as well. Forget that world record. Also got the first double 700k transition, I guess you could say, in the same set. Cursed, exactly. It's because I'm commentating. If, like, Van Dweller was commentating, you would have gotten that world record. You would have gotten the 1.45 into kill screen. And there we go. Ansel is good for the game. Your transition score doesn't matter if your opponent tops out in level 23. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1 Tetris for this amazing decider. If Dan gets anything less than a 755 transition this game, it will be a major disappointment. So you're going to need to push down a lot, I'm afraid. The only way from here is down, I'm afraid. Dan has already taken a burn, so gonna have to, and it's over. His dreams are over. The double 750 transition in the same match. It's never happening. So sad. But that's okay. Hello, Giovanni. Dan could actually be competitive in this div, but he has to win this match. Yeah, well, good luck to Dan. You just got to beat Ansel, and you can have a chance to maybe make playoffs. $168k for Dan. And the 87,000 for Ansel, so Ansel, I think, very intimidated by Dan's paces the previous games, and just not being able to keep up the efficiency anymore. Oh, 1 minute. So, Dan 60k ahead. Ansel up to 201. Dan up to 261. Got a T-tuck set up. Just going to take a burn and have to take a skim afterwards at some point. Now 3 skims. Make that 4, but the well is reopened. And still probably around a 60k difference between the players. Good, now we've got a copy pasta that's about the German surname Witz. Of all the copy pastas that we see in a Tetris Twitch chat, that is probably the strangest one that hasn't been created by Heist. Ansel stack, once again, unclean, and that's only going to burn a single, which is unideal. Left side will get sorted out by that J piece, though, and then a few more nicely timed J or L pieces, both of them, in fact, leads to bringing this down reasonably quickly and scoring a Tetris. Going up to 350k, so still not terrible pace. Is someone eating? You hear plate noises. That's just, I don't know, my wife's doing something in the kitchen, and my flat's pretty small, so you can just hear everything. Dan, interesting stack here, very high columns, 6 and 7? Yeah, that's 6 and 7. Slowly filling out 8 and 9. Tune in for more incredibly interesting comments from Nick Arbaro Woods of NES Tetris fame. Exactly, we should start the Nick Arbaro Woods of NES Tetris fame podcast I think NES Tetris really has a lack of podcasts. For every niche topic needs at least like 6 or 7 podcasts. There's one. There's like 3. Right? There's PDP. Oh, one sec. Dan's looking at a 600k transition, so not as crazy, but still nice. And then does that untuck thing, the not tuck with the S. Maddie raiding with a party of 12. Crazy. Want to do one where it's just shitting on all of the players? What, with you, Toogie? Because I'd totally do that. I would absolutely do a podcast with you where we just shit on the losers of every match of the month or whatever. The problem is that I'd just get shit on the most because I'd lose the worst. If we were doing that and then I had that performance against Alex T, man. I'd never hear the end of it. Would be fun though. It's almost like you're running a tournament. I know, right? 750k for DanV. Maybe I should commentate because this match is definitely going on YouTube. It is certainly interesting enough for it, so maybe put some effort in, potentially. Dan, 755. Ansel, 570. Scoring a Tetris going up to 596, so not even at 600k yet. I mean, it's still not awful pace, but against Dan, who is generally a very strong pacer on 18 at least, you've got some work ahead of you. And then Dan also is pretty strong at kill screen pacing. Maybe not the most consistent out of any top player, but he can certainly lay down a lot of points in a small amount of lines. Yeah, biggest bottle job of the week. I don't think me getting that pace versus Alex T would be a bottle. Like, that would... There was still basically no chance I'd win that, right? It would need to be like a choke. That would just be the worst game of the week. No, I had one. I had a dirty Tetris, like 12 high on 23, Nick. That was the only Tetris I had in post. Dan, 951. Ansel, 730, but a level behind, so... Dan, interesting T-piece placement there. I've definitely seen more sensible ones. Exactly, Nick. I'm just goated. It's that simple, Nick. I'm just too good. No one else could have gotten a pace like that in a Div 1 match. And you know it. Other than Mel HK, of course. But he had, and that's what matters. You like Dan's on Xbox? Yeah, it's really cool the way that it basically doesn't work. Ansel at 905. So behind by 150k or so, pace-wise. And doesn't have a clean stack, so... Damn, looking at a... What, 1.14? Not going to be 1.14, just going to be a 1.11 into kill screen, but then going to score Tetris to go up to 1.15. Ugh. Dan's doing crash skip strats with the Xbox. True. Dan's capture has completely frozen at 1.158. So we have no idea what's happening. The stream did not crash skip. I don't know what the ruling is here. I mean, it depends what Ansel gets, right? Because Ansel's only at 940. If Ansel doesn't even get 1.158, who knows? I mean, Dan's clearly still playing. I mean, I guess you could fake that you're still playing after topping out at 1.2. But either way, Ansel, you need to get probably a lot more than 1.158, but at least make your way towards that goal, and we'll see if you get there. And you... no, you do not. 981 is the top 8 score. So, regardless of what the final score for Dan is, you can say in chat, I guess, if you want, but you have won the game. An interesting match for sure. One of the wackiest matches. Not as wacky as me versus Alex T, but definitely a lot better.
Currently, it's Peek who has the early lead here on 125. SV, 69,000 points, now up to 70. SV with quite an early dig here. Holds out for a long bar. Now is set up for a center wall Tetris. There it is. Tetris for SV. Now can set up for another one here. Just make sure to keep 4 lines on that right side, so that he'd be able to get the right well open, but can't. Has to build on it. Oh, and is now not able to get that long bar in. Oh, and it comes one too late there for SV. It's going to allow Peek to potentially be able to extend this lead out, and will with that Tetris, but SV getting a Tetris at the same time. Simul Tetris from both players. SV has a clean board again, but oh, misdrops the square there. And that was indeed a disciplined square from Peek there. Peek has a Tetris and a half lead now, but now has to dig out of their own situation.